Hey guys, I'm Justin from Cooking with Coit. I specialize in clean comfort cooking, and today I'm going to show you how to make this super creamy and delicious mashed cauliflower. And if you love this recipe, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get started. You know how there's some recipes where you think to yourself, I cannot believe it took me this long to make it. That is exactly how you're gonna feel about this mashed cauliflower recipe. Imagine everything you love about mashed potatoes, especially the creaminess, but done in a healthier way. That is exactly what this recipe is gonna be. First thing we're gonna do is cut our cauliflower head into florets. Next thing we're gonna do is pop this cauliflower into a pot of boiling water, but before we do that, I'm gonna give it a quick rinse. All right, we're gonna boil this cauliflower for just about 10 minutes or until it's softened. Ow. But be careful when you're putting the cauliflower in that the boiling water doesn't splash up on you, because I just burned myself, I think. Jeez, really hot. Okay. With the cauliflower cooking in the pot, I'm going to go ahead and prep my garlic. I am using 4 to 5 cloves of garlic for this recipe. If they're big cloves, you can use 4. If they're smaller, 5 is good. The cauliflower has finished cooking. It is nice and soft. Let me show you how soft it should be. Cameraman, come and get a shot of this. So it should just be fork tender, so you should be able to easily take a fork and pierce right through, just like butter. And now we're gonna set this aside. Now we're gonna saute our garlic in some butter. So we're gonna take 3 tablespoons of butter, drop it into our pot. The heat of the pot should be set to about medium to medium high. We wanna let this butter melt a little bit, and then we're gonna toss in our garlic. Now we're gonna saute this garlic for just about 1 minute. All right, now we're gonna add our butter and garlic to the blender here. And you guys can definitely use a food processor if you have one. I just prefer to use a blender whenever I can because it's just a little smaller and easier to clean up. Now we're gonna add our cooked cauliflower in batches. You don't wanna overfill your blender too much because then it's gonna be hard to blend. I think a quarter of the way up each time is pretty good. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting off with a very kind of low speed blending, and then I increase it just a little bit as we go. Now it's kind of stopped, you can kind of hear that. If it does get stuck, you can use a spatula and just push it down. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna eliminate the little air pockets that keep the blades from touching the food. Okay, I think that's mashed pretty good, so we're gonna add our next batch. Let's give it another little blend. And again, we're gonna start off pretty low. Looks a little stuck. You might have to find that you're gonna have to push it down a few times while you're doing it, and it's not a big deal. You just wanna eliminate that little air pocket. Okay, this cauliflower is totally mashed beautifully. Cameraman, come get a shot of this. Look at how fluffy and beautiful that is. That is just like mashed potatoes. Next thing we're gonna do is add the cauliflower to the bowl. I've seen cauliflower used for a bunch of different things, including pizza crust, which is actually very good. If you guys have had cauliflower pizza crust, let me know in the comments below. But I think this version of using cauliflower to substitute with a potato is really like the best version I've ever seen. By using cauliflower instead of potatoes for this recipe, you're basically making a healthier choice because you're creating a whole meal centered around a super healthy vegetable that is cauliflower. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is add a 1/4 cup of sour cream. And this is not only gonna add a ton of flavor, but it's also gonna add even more creaminess. And we're also gonna add a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And then this is completely up to taste. This is gonna be salt and pepper. Add as much or as little as you want. I like to do probably a good 4 pinches of salt. I find that any kind of mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower recipe really benefits from a little more salt. And just a couple big pinches of pepper. And then now let's give it a mix. And as the cauliflower is still pretty hot, it's gonna melt this Parmesan cheese right into the rest of the mixture, and it is going to be amazing. Oh, this mashed cauliflower looks so delicious. I cannot wait to give it a try. But before I do, if you've loved this recipe and you want to see more just like it, check out my healthy recipes playlist. Okay, let's give this a try. I cannot believe it has taken me this long to fall in love with mashed cauliflower. Guys, I know you're gonna love this recipe. It is super creamy, it's super delicious, and it's just like mashed potatoes, but better and healthier. I'll see you guys in the next video.